Hello, I'm attorney Dan Marr from the law firm of Hamblett Kerrigan in Nashua, New Hampshire. I'm going to be talking today about how to protect yourself from personal liability in operating a business in New Hampshire. And I'm going to be focusing in on some ideas that you can have as to minimizing those risks. I've been practicing for 36 years in New Hampshire and 28 years in Massachusetts. I've litigated and advised clients on a variety of business matters. One thing that I do suggest as a recommendation in the beginning of creating your business is to create an LLC. You can do a corporation as well. An S corp is a form of subchapter S corporation is a small corporation that you basically can also have the same attributes as an individual, where you can pass through the expenses, liabilities. You don't get that double taxation that you might see if you're looking on the internet about incorporating a C corp can have that. You don't have those issues. But an LLC, limited liability company, is simpler in New Hampshire. It is easy to form. You don't have to have annual meetings where you do for corporations. You're supposed to have annual meetings even if you have one person, which is kind of silly, but it's a requirement there. But a limited liability company gives you same protections as to when you're signing contracts. So if I'm signing a contract and I'm signing it as Dan Marr, member of ABC LLC, then the contracting party on the other side knows that I'm just doing it in my capacity as a member of the LLC, and they can only, if there's a breach of the contract later on, whether or not it's intentional or not, generally they can only go after the corporation or the LLC itself. So that makes sense. There's some limits on that. I've talked about in other vlogs before about what's called piercing the corporate veil and the LLC veil, when you're using the LLC for your personal expenses or doing some other things that are wrong, or you're using it for fraud purposes. There's a variety of circumstances there, but in general, when you sign as a member of the LLC for contracts, that protects you. It doesn't protect you for torts, which means personal injury, negligent type claims. So if you're driving, if you're a member of an LLC and you're driving to a location and you hit somebody in a crosswalk with your car, or even the company car, you can be sued as well as the company can be sued. The company can be sued under something called respondeat superior. It's a legal theory that says the company is responsible for its employees that are acting in the scope of their employment, but you can be sued as well. And if the company doesn't have insurance or has insufficient insurance, they may be coming after you as well to see if they can get something out of your insurance policy. So you want to be careful about that. Obviously drive safe and make sure you have adequate insurance. Also make sure when you're dealing with your autos, if you're driving on company business regularly, make sure you talk to your insurance company to make sure that you are getting proper coverage for that driving. So if you're doing a whole bunch of sales calls or other things, you want to make sure that you're driving your personal vehicle, the insurance is protecting you for that business related material. So if you're, by way of example, if you're traveling 3 states, the upper states of New England, in a sales territory, you want to make sure the insurance company can't go and say, well, I thought it was only for personal use, and that's what you put in your application, so I'm not covering the trip that you went up to Bangor, Maine to do a sales call when you got into an accident. So you want to make sure about that. Another thing you want to make sure of, as an owner, you should be making sure that all the employees are paid appropriately under New Hampshire law, the wage and hour laws. You can be a responsible officer. It says corporation, but you can be likely for LLC as well, for your responsibility to make sure that the employees are getting paid. If you can't pay them, don't tell them, please stay in there and we'll try to deal with this. Talk to an attorney and they're going to advise you. I would advise you to lay them off, and then if you can get them back in, you can get them back, but you don't string them along with the possibility of being paid, because if they don't get paid, you can be personally liable for that. Next thing is discrimination. Under New Hampshire law, it's quite clear that somebody can be responsible for aiding and abetting the employer from discriminating. So here's an example. You are a manager of the company, and you find out that one of the supervisors down below is discriminated against one of the employees, but that supervisor is really important to you, so you allow it to happen. You don't do anything about it. You can be personally responsible for that. Or if you're a mid-level manager and you see something going on down on the manufacturing floor, and you ask about it, and the guy and the gal that are involved in this cross claims of sexual assault or sexual harassment between the two of them are both saying different stories, and you just throw up your hands and you say, that's a he said, she said, you can be liable for that. If you haven't done a proper investigation, you could possibly be liable. So be careful about discrimination cases as well. So all of this, Matt, all this answers the question of an LLC does make sense to deal with. It deals with your contracting parties. It also gives you some gravitas with other businesses to show that you have your act together, but it doesn't protect you from making sure you have proper insurance and you're following your wage and hour laws, not discriminating, and you're basically making sure that you're running the business correctly. If you have questions in regards to this, contact me, Attorney Dan Marr. Call me Dan at 603-883-5501. That's 603-883-5501. Or check out our website, NashuaLaw.com. It has a lot of useful information in there, including these vlogs and some radio shows, or quite a few years of radio shows that I was doing until last year. Thank you. Bye.